So not sure if you noticed or not, but the tires on the crane are, well, they're quite large. Quite large. Okay, they're huge. They take a large volume of air, need to get it up to 55 psi. Now if you look at the valve, it's not your typical tire inflator valve. Oh wait, that actually is a typical, hang on a second. It's not your typical tire inflator valve. So what I gather online, there's two sizes, the normal one and then the large one. This is the large one. However, I don't have a large tire inflator. So, and trying to fill it through that little tire inflator, it's going to take a while. Looked online, a large tire inflator is like $100. Seems a little expensive to me. But the connector to connect into the tire, it's only like $20 on Amazon. I think it's a OSHA thing. You're technically supposed to be away from the tire, have the tire in a cage, yada yada yada. Granted, I don't disagree. If one of these tires were to blow, that would be a massive, massive explosion. I mean, barn might be damaged in the process. So standing back from it is probably not a bad idea, which is why I got that airline connector on the back of it. So I have a typical air hose connected to the connector. It's a connector on a connector on a connector on a connector on a connector. And that runs back to the inflator, which I had all but I think one fitting on hand. I got my gauge. See the tire's at 50. Lost a little getting that connector off. I got it piped in, and then the valve, which is how I inflate it, but that goes to, well, a large air hose. I mean, my gas powered, well, diesel powered air compressor's right here, so I might as well use it. But yeah, if I was trying to fill that on the compressed air from the shop or the garage, I would have been here for a while. But also it's up there. It's kind of far away. I do have one over there, but that's a small air compressor. And then I got portable air compressors that are great for truck tires, but truck tire can take like 5-10 minutes to fill up. I don't even know how many batteries that would take. So I got the trailer in. You can't see it, but I got it in. And I also greased the turntable a little. I think I used up the whole tube of grease. It needs more. It doesn't feel bad. Given the age and lack of lube, I want grease oozing out all over the place. Actually, a little bit oozing back there. So it's getting there, but I need to swing it 360 degrees. I don't have the room to do it right here. Might have the room here. Where was I? I got a phone call from my dad. Trees are coming in an hour. They're supposed to be here within a half hour. So yeah. What was I saying? Squirrel! Oh, yeah, I got to rotate the turntable 360 a couple times, back and forth. I like to work the grease in, but I don't know if I have the room here. I had a similar experience with the boom lift. Turntable was really jerky. Actually, it still kind of is. The braking system was a little goofy, but what I did is I pulled it into the middle of the driveway and rotated it 360 degrees, greased it, rotate, grease, rotate, grease, rotate, grease, rotate 360, rotate the other way, 360, rotate, grease, rotate, grease. It's a bit of a process, but I didn't do it over here. I did it over there. Our driveway's long, so I can park it in the middle there and spin 360. But I can't get the crane over there until I have brakes and preferably new fluids everywhere. So I'm just going to have to wait a bit. But there's still a lot of greasing to do. I need to see if there's a greasing checklist in the service manual, just so I don't miss anything. So a bit awkward because this is up in the air a little too much. Those chains, if you can still hear me, make me nervous. So again, had a similar experience with the boom lift. The chain on that broke, which was interesting to replace. Wasn't terrible, but it wasn't as big as this. So I just found out that my shutter was like 800. So sorry about the grainy video. Man, I wonder how long that's been like that. Anyway, these chains are a lot bigger, probably a little bit longer. So if they snap, it's going to be fun to replace and probably a bit more expensive. I'm ordering with the hydraulic fluid some chain oil, or not chain oil, wire rope oil, that can also be used for chains. So I guess it would be chain oil. So hopefully I'm gonna get enough to where I can lube up the entire rope and hit the chain inside the boom. I'm not entirely sure how I'm reaching the chain inside the boom, but it's a goal. It's not necessarily a realistic goal, but it is a goal. So I was editing a video and realized I started rambling on about this chain and never explained what the chain is for. So if you take a look at the service manual, which I found on eBay and paid a lot of money for. I don't know why I paid a lot of money for it, but I paid a lot of money for it. I should probably digitize this and put it on the internet. What was I talking about? Squirrel! Okay, so this is a cutaway section of the boom. So the boom has 3 sections that it can extend out so you can reach out further. You know, because cranes do that. They reach out. Anyway, it's got a hydraulic piston. Apparently it's a telescoping hydraulic piston, which is attached between the first boom and the second boom, which is kind of hard to see in this diagram, but it's tied to the second boom. There is a chain that runs from the third boom to the first boom. So when this hydraulic ram pushes the second boom out, it also pushes this chain out, which then causes the third boom to move out at the same rate. So as the boom extends, all the boom sections are synchronized. The problem with these chains is they're inside the boom, so you don't see them. So if you don't have somebody who's actually maintaining this thing and knows about this, they're often neglected and will lose lubricant. If they lose lubricant, then they don't move very well. If they don't move very well, these links start binding up. And that's what I started seeing through the whole of the boom. Now, I don't think it's too late to do anything about it. Don't think it's going to snap yet. I'm pretty sure I caught it before anything bad happened. The lubricant I got for the cable is like a penetrating oil, so I'm pretty sure I can also use that on this chain. So I'll try to spritz the chain as I boom out. I don't want to boom out until I can get this chain somewhat lubricated, because it will cause the links to bind. But that is going to be another issue, is how do I get to this chain to lubricate it. It doesn't look like I can go through the front if this is any scale whatsoever. I mean, I would expect this to be up here if I could actually get to it. It does have holes in the side, so I think I can get to part of the chain, but trying to get the whole thing it's going to be a bit of a hassle, so we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I would also like to point out the laughability of whoever decided to identify these parts. Like, what is this part called? I don't know, but I do know that that is a bolt. Literally marked a bolt. That number goes to a bolt. 47 says bolt. You don't believe me? It's right here. 47 bolt. Why would you put what? Why would you waste the number? 47 bolts. Oh my goodness, they did it up here with another number. This one's 8. Let's see, 8 right there. Bolts. Bolts. They wrote down bolts. I have no idea what to call this assembly, but I do know that number 8 is bolts. Bolts. Like, is there a grease zerk fitting there? I don't know, but I do know there's a bolt there. Is there any other lubrication points? No, I don't know about lubrication, but I do know there's a bolt there. While I was standing here dumbfounded about the bolts, I should also point out this cabling here. So on this side, it's chain, but that only gets you extending. It doesn't help with retraction, because if you track, then it binds, so you got nothing to pull against. So this rope here, this rope is here to exert the opposite force. So chain is for extension, rope is for retraction. It's kind of interesting because the boom lift has chains on both sides. So I don't know why they went with cable here. I don't know. Probably cable makes more sense, to be honest, because the cable's less likely to bind, unlike the chains. Although I'm guessing the chain is stronger. That's probably why. The boom lift is a little beefier because you're lifting a person, so their safety factor is a lot higher. Whereas this, if the chain breaks, you lose your load, but you don't lose a person, possibly. I mean, yeah, I would think your safety factor would be about the same, but I don't know. I ain't no engineer. I didn't label this bolts.